Yo, what's going on, guys? It's time again for another Atlanta DJ Zone Tech Tuesday Live. You are here with Kenyon, aka the Kid. Today's topic, what I'm gonna be talking about tonight, is our operating systems, Windows and Mac. So stay tuned for that. Got a couple tidbits. Topics is not going to be long tonight. I'm not going to go into anything really in depth. Just some interesting stuff that I found out recently that I thought I'd share on Mac and PC, and also another tip that I've been telling everybody for the longest time to use, especially for DJs. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. But right now, I'm about to take a break. I need to go fill my water cup real quick. I've tried adding a little ambience to the background tonight. I don't know if you can tell that I have some uplights that I have to add some colors to the background. I probably need to be down in the studio. It works better in the studio than it does on these white walls, unless I turn out my light, which at that point you won't be able to see me because it looks like I'm sitting in the dark and I really need some light on me. So just give me 1 second. Let me go and get me fill up my water cup, and I'll be right back and we can get started. Test, test, 1, 2. All right, guys. We're back. And like I said, what I'm going to be talking about tonight is just a little bit on Windows and Mac. Not really a whole lot. I guess most importantly, what I would mention at the end, which is concept I've been using for about at least 5 or 6 years, that you can use on Mac and PC, to where you can change and be able to make your computer into a brand new computer. You're basically giving it somewhat an alter ego, to where your performance and your daily use are running separate. So let's go ahead and, I clicked the wrong button. My bad. I hit the wrong button off screen. I'm toggling between cameras. All right, let's stay with this one. So let's go ahead and get into Windows. All right, for those of you that don't know, Windows 10, which is the current version that's been out for years, is about to expire. October 13th of this year is the mainstream support for Windows 10 will be ending on October 13th. So as of October 13th, you still be able to get automatic updates, but stuff like free tech support, and I wrote the stuff down, help desk, technical questions, via phone, email, chat, or whatever, you'll start to lose all that. And then they have extended support at that point that will run all the way up to October 14th of 2025. So if you want to stay with Windows 10, you can up to 2025 if you need support. Now, I'm still running on the computer that I'm streaming from right now. I'm still running Windows 7, and I've been running Windows 7 for a while now. I only have one computer personally that has Windows 10, and that's because it was default. It's a newer computer, so it's running Windows 10. So I had to get used to Windows 10. I didn't really like the change in format between the two, but I went ahead, dealt with it, and bite the bullet and learned how to use it anyway. So what we have now, and like I said, I just found this out recently. I haven't really been, checking out a lot about what's going on with Windows like I should, being a tech and everything. But Windows 11 is already out. It's already out to the public. It was released August 29th of this year. So Windows 11, the new operating system, is out, and they're starting to phase the old one out. So 11 will be replacing 10. I haven't looked at it yet. So what I might do in a little bit is pull up a couple links or whatever, and we can see what that looks like. But Windows 10 support is starting to phase out. As of October 13th this year, you'll be losing the mainstream support, which is help desk, where they answer questions, email, phone, over the phone, or in their Microsoft chat. So you will start to lose all that. And then from that point, you have the extended. The extended goes all the way up for another 5 years, which is October 14th, 2025. And then between October 13th this year and October 14th of 2025, you'll be able to, everything will be a paid option. So you have to rely on either the Premier or the Essential servers if you need support directly from Windows. That's if you need support for Windows. Now, with me being a tech, I've never called Windows for support. I don't know anybody that ever has. But I guess in cases where you're in a corporate or enterprise, you would need to contact Windows for tech support. But more of a consumer or residential, you may not need to. You can just Google Google a search, or YouTube or whatever. You'll be able to find your stuff online. But for some of the cases where you need to find something that you can't find online, you'll be losing that support soon, because they're phasing out Windows 10 and starting to move in Windows 11. Now, with that all said, what does this mean for DJs? Now, as for what this means for DJs, because when I do a topic, it's not more of a topic for people in general. I'm doing it for DJs. It's related to what will involve with anybody that's doing it. It could be, it not only could be DJs, it could be producers, it could be musicians, anybody that uses a computer or technology equipment or whatever in a musical environment. So in that case, what I say will be mostly related to DJs, musicians, and so forth. Not consumers, not your daily users, not students, not enterprise, not corporate. It's involved with DJs. So when I do these podcasts, it's mostly stuff that you hear about on the outside. But the thing is that you want to know, okay, what does this mean for me, the DJ? How does this affect me? So that's what I start to look into, and I do my research and stuff based on that. So with that being said, if you're using Windows 10 now and you don't have any problems, continue using it. I would say don't rush into Windows 11, because I used to be a beta tester for Windows 7. And actually, I think they released 7 out too early, because I think I got it earlier in the spring of, I can't remember what years, but whatever year it was, it came out in the spring for beta testing, and they released it like probably about around this time of the year. So with that being said, don't rush into Windows 7. Don't let the features, the new features, and all the other jargon and text and specs and stuff that they have on there, don't let that grasp you and tell you, okay, I want to jump and get Windows 11, because you will probably have problems, because whenever there's a new operating system, the third-party programs have to create an update or a new version to adapt. And I'm gonna say the same thing when I get ready to move over into the Mac era. When I start talking about Mac, the same thing applies when you're using a third-party software. Using a third-party software that hasn't been adapted for that operating system, they have to make changes. So the Serato or the Tractor or Virtual DJ or whatever that you may have used 6 months ago may not work on a Windows 11 machine, especially if they change the format, which Windows has done that time and time throughout their different operating system change. From I know XP was a change, and then after XP it went to Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 8.1, and Windows 10. Now those right there is a different operating system than what Windows XP was. If you had something like, say for instance, maybe Scratch Live, I think Scratch Live could run on Windows XP, but if I remember right, they did make an update, or there was a update for Scratch Live to where it was being used with Windows XP. And of course, if you have the drivers and mostly everything, if you have, excuse me, not XP, but Windows 7, anything that you have for Windows 7 can work for Windows 8, Windows 8.1, and Windows 10. Now, as for if the formatting system for Windows 11, has changed, I'm not sure. I don't know. We'll find out about that a little bit later as for if that's changed. So we're going to look a little bit into Windows 11, but right now I would say don't bother with it. Don't try to rush yourself into getting the newest thing that's out now, because some of and it may not be Serato. It can be any program that you have that may not have a patch or that may not be adapted to the new operating system change. And like I said, this applies to you Mac guys too. Right now, I'm talking Windows, but this can also apply for those that use Mac too. So before I get in that, there was another thing, and this caught my attention, and this is what I wanted to talk about too. Now, there is another version of Windows 10. And I'm going to tell you also, do not get this. Definitely do not get this version of Windows 10. This version was released, I think, in 2017, and is still in use right now. And it's the one that I listed in the description for this podcast. It's called Windows 10 S, or it can also be called Windows 10 in S mode. Now, what the S means, basically, I think it either means security or it means safe mode, which is a version of Windows 10, but it has a lot of security and safeties built into it, to where it's more stable and more secure than the actual Windows 10. Now, it is it's not completely different, but there's differences between Windows S or Windows 10 NS and Windows. Now, for one thing, and this was what I found out, if you go to Windows S, you can go back to Windows 10 once. So say, for instance, if you go on a trial, you say, okay, I'm going to try this. You test it, you go in, I don't like this, I want to go back. You can go back, but you can't go back to S again. Probably not without doing a full format. There's an option to where you can go back to the previous 10. But the thing I'm saying is, don't go to Windows 10 S. Don't even try it, period. So if you see that, what I'm telling you now, don't use it, because one of the main issues that I saw with using that is that all your apps have to be purchased through the Microsoft Store. So it's more secure, because Microsoft has a lock on all the applications, all the programs that they are allowing this version to use. Now, this version was made mostly for students and educators, and this would be more suitable of an operating system to have on a Chromebook. But the main thing that I'm saying here, why not to use it, is because if there's programs that you're using and it's not in the Microsoft Store, you won't be able to install them. So you're only able to install what's in the Microsoft Store. So if Serato is not in the Microsoft Store, can't use it. If Tractor not there, can't use it. Virtual DJ, you can't use it. It's proprietary lock to only whatever programs is being accessed through the Microsoft Store. So it's basically like an iPhone or an Android phone, to where you can only download Android. You can only download through the Google Play. You can't install programs directly from a link or from a website or whatever. It always going to direct you back to the Google Store. Same thing with the iPhone. If you have an iPhone or iPad or whatever, it's going to tell you to go to the App Store. You can see the app, but then it's going to direct you to the App Store, and it's going to tell you to download it from there. So that's what Windows 10 is in a nutshell, and why to stay away from it, because you won't be able to use anything that you have. So that was the one thing that I wanted to bring up about that. All right, so let's find out some stuff about Windows 11. Then I'm gonna jump into interesting stuff about Macs, and interesting stuff about the concept. Operation Superhero, or you can use the term performance dual boot. Either or, they both the same, and they mean the same thing. The hashtag one can better explain how it works in a theoretical aspect. So let me pull this up, because I ran across this a while ago. And let me move it over here so I can see it. This right here is a life cycle fact sheet for Windows. And what this sheet tells you exactly when an operating system is going to expire, how much life that you'll be able to get out of it. Like right here, these versions of Windows 10, they were available on these dates, but the end of service for these particular ones end on these dates. And the end of service for the larger versions, the enterprise and the education, are mostly about around the same date. They could have just left it. Well, okay, I see right here, some may go a little bit longer. Like the longest one for most of your standard version is version 2004. And it goes to December 14th of next year, 2021. And also the enterprise too. So if you have these versions, then this is your life expectancy of those. And let's see, all these Windows 8 and Windows 7 have phased out. And I think Windows 7 just ended. It's extended support just ended in February, either February or January of this year. But I mean, even after something has been suspended, or it's no longer serviceable or whatever, you can still use it. If you have any issues, you can't call Microsoft. You have to Google or YouTube or whatever to find out what the issue is. But right now, at this point, there's a vast information on anything that can possibly happen. So most likely you could probably find the issue by, researching it online. So that was one thing I wanted to see. Now let's look and find out something about Windows 11. All right, let's see. Looking for something directly from Microsoft. So let's go back. Wait, it says something about a Windows 12. Well, hello. Now I'm seeing something. Hold on. Okay. All right. Now I'm seeing right here. There's going to be a Windows 12 release, or okay, this may be a fake site. This. All right. Let's see what this is about. All right, now from what I'm seeing, this looks like a installation of Windows 12, which I didn't think that they would drop out two operating systems about around the same time, but they did the same thing for Windows 8, and then you had 8.1, and it looks like they're putting this on an HP. I may just skim through this. Let's see, skim through this a little bit. Now, as for whether this is real or not, we'll do a little bit more, little bit more researching. I didn't really hear anything about a Windows 12, but I did check, and there was something about a Windows 13, but there's not going to be anything for Windows 13. So I wonder why they're going to release 11 and a 12. I mean, it looks pretty simple. Okay, so this is what the desktop looks like for Windows 12. Looks more like Windows 10, pretty much. Not a whole lot of changes. You still have your apps. My goodness, the icons are huge. Okay, so I guess there will be a Windows 12. Now I wonder why are they releasing a 10? I mean, 11 and a 12. Oh, well, that's it. So there will be a Windows 12. Let's see what some of the features are. I may go and download it and install it into a separate partition. Put it into a partition to where I won't have a issue with it on my have an issue with it on my other camera. And I think I need to turn up the light on this one. Let me brighten this up. All right. All right. So didn't mean for that to pop up there. So where do you go to find this? Probably need to sign up for the beta versions again. All right, they have a dark mode for File Explorer, which is good. I like using dark mode. Clipboard history. And it says when you do a copy and cut command, the data will be stored in the clipboard. That I like. Let's see. With the presence of this clipboard history feature, the law will no longer apply. Clipboard history feature allows you to view all data in the form of text or files that you copied and cut, not only limited to just seeing. You can also freely can choose which one you want to paste. So you can copy text in sequence and then paste in the order that you want. Not only that, if you have devices that are connected using a Microsoft account, then you can paste data from one device to another. The way is very easy. You just simply press Windows plus V to display the clipboard history bundle, and all your lists that you have copied and cut will appear. Now that I like. I use the copy and paste feature a whole lot. I use it. I use it everywhere, but I use the shortcut keys. I always use the shortcut keys. I never really do right clicking or anything like that. I use shortcut keys to make it a whole lot better. And let's see, snip and sketch. Okay, they have snip and sketch in 10, which is where you can take You could take snapshots. You could get screen snapshots. Testing from the laptop. Let's see. Allows you to sync Windows 12 on your laptop with the Android smartphone. So you can immediately see the SMS contained on the Android. So you can connect to your Android device and send text. Search previews, Microsoft Edge updates, power usage and task manager, HDR support, and Windows security. Not a whole lot of big features, but enough. Let's see what's going on with Windows 11. Let's see this official site. All right, this is Windows 11. And let's make sure I don't think it's not official Windows site. Of course not. Because it will be Microsoft. All right, let's see. Oh, this is a forum. Let's check out a video. See, now that works for me. That right there, I can do that. Now, one of the features that it let me get back to my screen. One of the features that it has that caught my attention is that they're taking back the desktop, or they're taking back the appearance. You can change it and go back to XP. That right there is enough for me. I mean, it's fine the way it is, but knowing that I can go back to a layout that I'm familiar with, and the layout that they have here is actually, to me, it looks better than Windows 10. So it seems obviously that they got a lot of complaints, and they went through maybe a lot of people that didn't like the layout that they went from Windows 7 to Windows 8 and Windows 10. So now they've throttled it down a little bit, and they even have the option to where you can go something that's a little more open, something that everybody, well, everybody that was born within that era can be used to. So with the fact that that you can have your layout to look like XP, I'm good. I think I'll probably end up updating on the Asus laptop that I have here later tonight, or where I can find out that I can get it from, even if it's a beta version. Let's see. Where is, I want to see original. Let's see how to update. All right, let's see. Oh, not Explorer. All right, here's. Let me just go to Microsoft. And let's see what do they have on Windows. And I don't see it. What if they just, well, it said that it was released to the public when I looked it up earlier. So they don't have it listed on their site. All right, let's see. Let's see, what's the date? This is okay, this is old. This is back in 2018. Because I don't see anything on their site about 11. But a lot of people here are mentioning it. And this is an old version. So, no, is there 11? I don't know. I might need to stay posted up on this and try to find out. Okay, from what it looks like there's not one. And see what's the date. This is 3 months ago. See it. All right, let me screen share this back so you can see what I'm seeing. When you put in Windows 11, this is what you get. This is like the first article. Okay, looks like 11 is a scam. Wow. Good thing you do your research first. So if 11 is a scam, I guess probably 12 is a scam too, unless 12 is real and oh, my keyboard. All right. Oh, my keyboard. All right. All right, so 11 is false news. Good thing we found it out now. So what about 12? And yep, this one is the same because it has the same link. Or let me see, is this? Nope. Let's see what 12 says. What's the date on this one? I don't know. This website looks a little fishy. Okay. Not for sure this is the official site. All right, let's see these other versions. 10, retirement calendar. Okay, that's the same one. I already looked at that one. I already looked at that one. Okay, no Windows 11. This is confirming that. And this was, oh, that was 2015. So I'm wondering if 2012 is going to be, is that going to be the one, or are they going to release something a little bit different? Oh well, I'm not going to get into it too much. Um, I think the photos that they're showing here are like concept, to where people created their own themes and their own backgrounds. They basically made their version of Windows 10 look more like a newer version. All right, let's see. This might be. Whoa. Let's see what this is about. Where Microsoft is calling Windows 10 the last version of Windows. Let's see, what's the date? 2015. So what are they going to release if they don't release another Windows operating system? All right, I think I'm gonna let this go. Not gonna spend a lot of time looking into this because I can't find anything on 11. I can't find anything on 12. But Windows 10 is definitely expiring, and they haven't came out with anything new to be released on it yet. So and the last version update is 2004 or 2004, which was available May of this year, and that's going to run up to December of next year. So got about another 16 months or so. All right, enough of that. But like I said, there is a version that's called Windows 10 in S mode or Windows 10 S. Don't get that version. Stay away from that version. That's the version that you don't want to mess with. All right. So let me take a quick break for a second, and we'll get started on to Mac. I want to put the breaks in here so I have pause segments to where to where I can separate it when I go back and do the editing. If there's any questions, anything anybody want to mention now, shout outs to anything, let me know who's out there. Go ahead and put that in right now so I can see who's out there. And I didn't change that, did I? All right, going out of that view. So who do we have? Who do you have watching, and what operating system are you using? Are you use Windows? Do you use Mac, or do you use a little bit of both? What do you mostly use for DJing, and what issues that you see or that you have with the operating system that you currently use it, and also what may be an issue that you may have in the future that you may think you may have in the future. All right, I'm back. Just pulled up a little bit of information to get started on the second half, which is based on Mac. Now, I was working on building an Apple Tech drive. I was working on building a flash drive that has all the OSX, Apple OSX operating system. Matter of fact, hopefully it should be finished now. I've been trying to get it to format and install for days, plus be able to find all the versions I need. I think I got maybe 7 or 8 of the more popular versions, all the way back to Lion. Since my MacBook is outdated, I couldn't get Mojave and Catalina, but I was able to find Mojave, and I couldn't download it on my computer, so I'm missing Catalina. I'm missing the app file for Catalina, but at least that I got everything else up to this point. And then we have there's a new Apple operating system that's coming out. Now, the reason that I'm mentioning Apple now at this point is a lot of DJs out there use Macs, use MacBook Pros, MacBook Airs. Some may even use iMac at their events or whatever. And so the thing with Apple is that they release a new operating system every year. And let me pull it up so I can explain it a little bit better. That is the wrong one. I need to stop that one. Let me drag over to here. So, all right, this is what we got. And let me blow the chart up a little bit more. Now, this is the chart with all the Apple operating systems under 10, or they call it X. It's OSX, meaning X, meaning 10, meaning this is the 10th generation for the operating system. And right now we're up to 17. Soon it'll be 17. 10.0 started with Cheetah, and then we have Big Sur that will actually 16 under 10, and 11 will be on its own, which is Big Sur. For the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, for the first 9 operating systems under Apple, they were named after a feline or a cat. Cheetah, puma, jaguar, panther, tiger, leopard, snow leopard, lion, mountain lion, so forth. And then after that, they start naming them after landmarks, mountains, geographical and historical monuments, so forth, whatever, mountains. I always say mountains. Some of them may be a little bit more, but it's roughly mountains. And the thing that I noticed about it is that the date is, and it's not shown in this one, but the date for each one is about the same date every year. And let me see if I can find that, because I was looking to make sure I had the right versions here in Wikipedia. I'm trying to find, where is it? I think this is it right here. Yep, every year around June. All right, let's start. I usually start with line, because anything before line, anything past line or before line is mostly you're outdated. You won't be using anything like that. So starting at Lion, it was released. Let's see, it was announced, release, end of support, most recent version. So this column and end date. So Lion, it was announced on October 20th, 2010 and released July 20th, 2011. And it went up to 2014, which means you can use it up through all of these up to a point where it's going to end up being replaced. And if you notice, each one, the expiration date on it is a year from the next. So let's see, Lion, July 20th, 2011 to October 2014. So you get 3 years. You get 3 years of life out of Lion. Mostly all of them 3 years. But they have a new one every year. August 2009, July. Well, here we go. We got a skip moment right here. Wait, no. I meant to start at Lion. Before Lion, when Snow Leopard stuff, they are 2 years. And then when they started Lion, they started going every year. July 20th, 2011, July 2012, October 2013, October 2014, September 15, September 16, September 17, September 18, October 19. So compared to Windows, you have a new operating system every year. They done whatever. And here's the thing: security patches, any fixes, any new specs, new features, or whatever. They incorporated that every year. So they basically start not completely from scratch, but they start from scratch in a way of adding new features. And it doesn't really change as for with Mac compared to Windows. The operation of it is simple. You can find everything a lot easier on a Mac than what you can with a Windows. That's why a lot of guys like Mac, because it's more simple. You can find stuff quickly, and you can access it, and it runs a whole lot better. But the thing that I need to say about Mac is the hardware doesn't make a difference. It's the software. The software or the operating system is what makes Mac a great success. For example, if you put the operating system of a Mac onto a PC, you will have a HP or Dell or whatever computer that you put it on that'll have a better stable operating system than a Mac. Now, I have done this. I have a HP EliteBook. I think it's a EliteBook 4550 or something like that. It's running Yosemite. I have Yosemite. I have a dual boot where I have Windows 7 and I have Yosemite. So running Yosemite on it, and it's an i5 processor, it runs just as good as my MacBook Pro. Matter of fact, it probably is cooler better than my MacBook Pro, because as for hardware, PCs or Windows PCs, laptops or whatever, they have a better cooling system than the Macs, because they're much thicker, and it exports and imports air through the whole system a little bit better. Plus, you got a lot more ports than what you do with the MacBook. So you got a lot of potential there. But the operating system makes Mac the better choice for most DJs and everybody. So think about that there. All right, now where I stopped at. Everything is almost like a year later. This is when it's announced. So this is when the keynote is on these dates, and then it's released on these days. So that's almost like a year in general there on some. Well, nope, some of them. July. This Lion was, but after they went Mount Lion, it was only a few months. And I remember listening to some of these. This on the end is, what is this? The most recent version. So this is the version that it ended up with. And it may have been updated, like Maverick is 10.9, but you may have received updates to get you to 10.94, then 10.95, excuse me. And this is the date that those revisions were done. So then after July, August, September, 2 more dates, and then it's out the door. So the main question that I have for DJs that I want to mention about Macs is whether you should update every time a new version comes out. I usually recommend don't, because, all right, say for instance, let me use this for example. Now, the most recent MacBook that I have is a 2011. Now, that 2011 stops updating on High Sierra. I think either I got Sierra or High Sierra on it, but it stops. When I tried to get Mojave and Catalina, it says it's not supported. And there is a support link. I need to see if I can find it. That will tell you where your I think this is it. No, that's not it. I think I need to go back to that main OSX. But there is there's a link in Apple that tells you where your MacBook or your device expires. And I think this may be it. Let's see. And the thing that you notice that between, let's see, 8 was Mountain Lion. Yep. Between Mountain Lion and all the way up to 1014, I think that's Catalina. No, Mojave. You could run on 2 gigs. After that, you needed more RAM. So, say for instance, if you have a laptop that's running that's running 8 gigs. Say if you're in the safe zone, and most of them is a minimum 2 gigs of RAM is going to be needed for your operating system. The rest of it is going to be split between other resources that you have either running in the background or the program that you're using. So updating to a newer operating system is going to put you in the red as for running those programs. That's why we say don't update. Even after that particular operating system has expired, I still wouldn't update. Like right now, I'm running Sierra, High Sierra, which is here. And I should be 2 more operating systems above that, or I'm 2 years behind. And actually, it may be to the point where it's about to kick the bucket and expire. So let's see. Let's say if I just had even High Sierra, it's going to expire next month at the end of November. But I can continue using after that because on my 2009 stopped with El Capitan, which El Capitan is not a good operating system. It was more of a rushed operating system to where they had too many problems, too many bugs, and it wasn't just not for DJs. It was just for people in general. So I wouldn't recommend El Capitan. If you want to stay safe, either Maverick or Yosemite. I would say Yosemite, Sierra, High Sierra. I'm not for sure about Mojave and Catalina because I can't install those on the units that I have, so I can't be safe about that. So the thing is, when you upgrade your operating system on an older machine, you're going to use up a lot more resources because it's going to ask for a lot more resources. So by doing that, what you need to do, you need to upgrade your RAM. That's the first thing. Upgrade your RAM. If the highest that you can get is 8 gigs, get 8 gigs. If you can get 16 gigs, that's even better. And let me show you the site that you need to go to find out all this information. This is the site that I use every time I'm looking up specs on a MacBook. Everymac.com. If you go to everymac.com and put your maximize screen, everymac.com, and go to lookup. Now, when you go to lookup, you put your serial number in here. That's why I always ask a person when they have their MacBook posted for sale. I ask for their serial number. Put the serial number in here, and it looks up and it finds your information. Now, if you're trying to find information on a specific year or a specific model, you can go by these criterias here. Series, the year, the processor, even by the case. But, going by the year, don't even have all of them listed. But let's go MacBook Pro here and see. These are all the MacBook Pros. Some were like 2 and 3, 4, 2 to 3 made every year or maybe every quarter. So you just don't have one. You may have 2 or 3 that were made within that same quarter, whether it be fall, spring, or winter, or whatever. You still have that many. So I guess that was about it there. Like I say, if your Mac is running fine right now, stay with the operating system that you have. If in the event that you having issues and that new version take care of those issues, then you can upgrade. That's when I would recommend upgrade, or at least wait a couple months till all the bugs are out of it. Even though they're doing it every year, they're coming out with a new version every year. Guess what? They don't spend a lot of time getting all the bugs and all the kinks out of it. So that's what you want to do. Wait a few weeks, maybe even a month or so, especially if you're using with a specific program. Like with Serato always mention don't upgrade. Don't upgrade your operating system. And the reason why is because they haven't created a new version for that operating system. So in that aspect, they have to go back and create Serato again, or they have to create it to where it can run, or it's patched to run in whatever operating system that's coming out. Since Mac releases one every year versus Windows is every 10 years or maybe even longer, then Mac is going to be the one that you're going to have the most issues. You're going to have to wait before you can download that newest operating system in order to run whatever program that you're trying to run. So take that into account when you're when a new operating system or even a patch of Serato or a version of Serato comes out. It's the same way. They may create when Serato creates a version of a new version, they're patching. They're patching fixes, or they're correcting problems that they may have. They're adding new hardware. If there's a new controller, a new mixer, whatever new hardware that needs to run Serato, they need to be able to create that and add the drivers. So whenever somebody buys that equipment, they can play it without any issues. And then sometimes, and these are the larger updates or the larger versions, to where they add features like maybe flip. What's another? I know flip is one. What's the other one? The chop, splice, whatever it is. I know flip is one. That was a major update. And then usually into that account, the version number changed. So when they get ready to make a version to where they have more features added, I mean, like not like minor features, like adding in the ability to stream and adding in things like Spotify, SoundCloud, Tidal, or whatever to integrate it. That stuff is small. I'm talking about large stuff that may impact and change the layout and the look of Serato. So then that's when it may be a newer version. It may be like 3.0 or 4.0 or whatever, compared to when they do these little small fixes. It's 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and so forth up to the last one before they make a big update or big change. Now, I think that was it on yeah, that was it on Mac too. And like I said, the thing is, make sure that you update only when needed. Don't update when something new comes out. I see this all the time, and it's going to happen again. Big Sur is going to come out, which is the next one is 11.0. Big Sur is going to come out, and people are going to want to get that. That may be some new features on the Mac. May not even be related to DJing. It may just be new stuff that people want to have and be able to use. Now, if you're using that computer for specifically for that, then go ahead. But if you're using it for DJ, don't fall for the okie doke. Don't fall for it. Just go ahead and stay where you're at. And wait a few months. Wait maybe a month or two when all the bugs and all the kinks. Serato has finally created a patch to where, and they may have to do 2 to 3 patches before they get it right, but they eventually get it before it expires, and then there's another one. They would have to. They would have to. I can't see them trying to fix a new operating system and then just as soon as they get it perfect to where it's working, nobody's not having crashes, nobody's not having any issues, then boom, Apple comes out with a new version. So usually they get it in about 4 to 5 weeks where everything is taken care of. So that's enough of that. All right, now I'm gonna take another break because I need a water break. I'm starting to dehydrate out again. But let me take another break real quick, and I'm gonna tell you about the concept that I have: Operation Superhero or Performance Dual Boot. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Now, this is the last and final thing that I wanted to tell y'all about. Now, about a few years ago, I came up with a concept that I run on both of my MacBook Pros, and I also have it on the Hackintosh, the one that I mentioned earlier, the HP EliteBook that has both has 2 different operating systems, Windows and Yosemite, and it's not like a boot camp or parallels type run. It's 2 full operating systems. It's the full Yosemite operating system and Windows that runs separate. I have to boot to each one. It's not that I boot to one and I can run the other one inside of it. If I want to change over, then I have to shut it down, restart, and then select the option in order to go into it. Now, that same concept somewhat applies to what I do with my MacBooks. Now, the guys earlier, there was a post, and I'm gonna see if I can find it real quick. There was a post that was mentioned about integrating about hard drives. Hard drives, whether you and where is it? here it is. And let me shift it over to this screen. All right, let me zoom in. All right, close out some of this stuff over here. Is there a way? Can I just? Oh, I got so many. All right, this was a question. He was asking about internal versus external hard drives. And I mentioned that I would mention something about this later tonight. And then right here, people start talking about, what they use or whatever, different brands, and sizes or whatever. Now I run this layout right here. And the MacBooks that I have a 2009, 2011. It has the ability to where you can take the hard drive. You could take the optical drive, or what they call what is it called? Is it called a super disk? The optical drive out of the MacBook Pro and replace it with another drive. There's a caddy kit that you can buy starting at about, I think I paid like maybe $15 for mine, maybe a little more depending on where you get it. Some places you can get the whole kit. But anyway, it replaces the drive inside the MacBook to where you can add a second drive just like you would with a desktop. Now, what this gives you more storage. As for right now, at this point, you can have up to, I think, probably about 8 terabytes of storage inside your Mac. If you take a 4 gig, not 4 gig, but a 4 terabyte and put it in the main slot and take another 4 terabyte and put it in the secondary, then you got a total 8 terabytes inside that MacBook Pro. Now, there's only certain models or certain years. Now, late 2012 is the cutoff. Late 2012, that's when the Retina versions were created. So there was less upgrading that you can do at that point. They were slimmer, and the components inside of it changed. The logic board was different to where you couldn't update the RAM. You couldn't open the case, pop 2 RAM chips out, put 2 RAM chips in. The RAM was soldered to the logic board. Now, as for the storage at that time can be replaced, but it was so proprietary to Apple, you could only get it through Apple. They had to do the install, so forth. Now that has changed. Years has gone by. That was 2012, 2013, and now you can buy the same type of storage, or the same type of VRAM, or whatever the storage is called. You can get it now, but you have to buy an adapter. You have to buy an adapter to where it can be attached into the MacBook. But now you can get standard third party, whatever out there, whatever you want to get, whatever brand you want to go with, whether it's Samsung or anything else. You can go with anything else and be able to put in there to update your storage. But anyway, anything before late 2012, you can update it. You can update your RAM. You can update both drives. You can update the optical drive. You can pull that out, and you can also update your standard drive. Now, with the standard drive, the options that you have is going, and this is from good to best, is a standard, and I have them right here. I have all of them except for one. You can go with a standard, and you can go with a standard SATA drive, which this one right here is, this one is 80 gig. So either this one came out of an old computer that I had, or it came out of a PS4. And I think this one came out of I don't know, because I got a lot of them over here that came out of a PS3 that are still in the caddy. So these are SATA drives. That's the connection for a SATA drive. You have these pins, which is for data, and then this one, these right here, for your power, which the camera is not focusing in on real good. But that's all right. You see what I'm talking about. And that may be too much light. But anyway, this is a SATA 3 with the 3 gigabyte per second data transfer. Now, then let me make sure that then you have another one that's a step above this, which it looks similar to this. It's made by Seagate. It's called the Seagate Fire CUDA. And this size is 2.5 inches. 2.5 inches versus, and this is your standard PC drive. This is a 3.5 inch. And your measurements are from here to here. That's 3.5 inches. And this is 2.5 inches. They don't go by the thickness, they go by the width. So their Fire CUDA is going to be the better drive. This is good. Fire CUDA, which looks similar to this, is going to be your better. And the reason that it's better is because it combines the technology of a standard drive, but it also has the technology of a SSD drive. So it has the components, the mechanical components of a standard drive, which means it has a motor, it has platters, and it has read and write heads. Also, the electronics on the back, but it also has RAM chips in it, like maybe a flash drive or maybe like an SSD drive. It has RAM chips in it that temporarily stores that data and then puts it on the black platters. So it basically has its own cache, which is temporary storage. It's saved at that point and is stored. the same way it goes backwards that way too. Stuff is accessed, and you have a lot more temporary storage to where you can read and write a little bit faster than this. Now, the and I'm gonna mention, me go ahead and pull SSD. And this right here is SSD drive. This is OCZ, which is a lot of the drives that I get are OCZ. I get mostly OCZ more than anything else. I don't even think I have anything else but OCZ, except for the HP laptop I have. It has Intel in it that it came with. And I think I've gotten the Micro Center brand. But this has no moving parts. So you have no moving parts, which means no heat transfer and no noise. You put two of these in, quiet. The only noise that you'll hear is from the fan inside the laptop. Now, the differences is between your hard drives is that your standard hard drives are going to be cheaper, and you can get more. You can get more storage for this drive than you can for this drive. So, say for instance, if you wanted to get a 4 terabyte, and let's say the 4 terabyte is $100. Now, a 4 terabyte in an SSD at this point may run you up to about $1,000 or even more. I'm not even for sure that they have 4 terabytes out yet, but you're going to pay more for larger storage here than you do here. Now, the hybrid drive, like I said, it's a cross between these two, which means that you get the benefits of it being this too. So right now, the largest one that they have for the fire cooler is a 2 terabyte drive. You can get a 2 terabyte drive for about $100. Like I said, you can get a standard 4 for maybe $100, but you can get a 2 terabyte hybrid for about $100. So the factors there is going to be a little bit, it's going to be based on what you want, what you see, and what you want to put in there. Now, what I do, only buy enough storage that I need. I don't go and buy a super large SSD drive to go in my main. I put an SSD drive to replace my main, and I never go over 250. Now, there's a reason that I do that. Not because of price wise, but there's a reason that I do that. One, it keeps me from using up all that storage at one time. Two, I do a split partition. I usually have 2 operating systems installed on there. So I may run, like say if I'm running this in Mac, like my 2011, I have either Sierra or High Sierra, and then I'm also running another partition with Yosemite. And I get to that later. That's the Operation Superhero and Performance Dual Boot. But I usually run on a 240, I'll split it 120 and 120. And that'll be enough for my operating system, which the operating system for Mac is usually about 20 gigs. And then I got enough for programs. Now you'd be like, well, what about your data? That's not enough. That's when the second drive that's in there, I get a larger drive. And the drive that I have now is a 2 terabyte. Now, I don't have a terabyte worth of music, but I have my 2 terabyte drive also split to where I have 1 terabyte for storage and 1 terabyte for music. Now, what I mean by storage is I don't store data on here. Your saves and stuff, I don't store them on here. All my data is saved into a partition on my standard drive. So I have my Mac set up to where I may have my home folder here, but when I save something on my home folder here, it doesn't save here. It transfers over to this drive. So everything transfers here. So when that drive fulls, either I can change the partition or I start to clear stuff out. Now, the other good side with that is if my operating drive fails, which I'm having a problem with my 2009 right now, and I'm about to go back and redo that operating system on there. If I have a problem with that, I only use this. I can put an operating system on there because I have all operating systems available. The only thing that I have is making sure that I still have access to getting the same programs. Now, once I get the operating system and the programs, then it links back up to this drive to the data. So then I can run the same programs that I have once I get everything set. And usually what you want to do there with Mac or PC or whatever you're doing, if you're doing a PC, you want to do backup. If you're doing a Mac, you want to make sure you have a time machine set. Time machine is the program that you use in order to do backup on Mac. So make sure you have time machine set and do it depending on how much that you add, and back up everything separate. Back up this one to one drive, back up this one to another drive. Don't back up to the same drive, because if that drive that you're backing it up to crash, then you've lost it all. You've lost it all. So back it up to where, just like you have everything separate, you have it stored separate. Now, like I said, with this drive, the standard drive or the largest drive, I have a partition to where my storage, everything stored is saved on one, and my music is saved on the other. In the event that this crash, my computer it won't run. It won't run, but it will boot. It'll boot to the point saying that it can't find the data that I have on here. So I will need to replace this drive in order for this to work, but I don't have to redo this process. Now, what most people do when you put everything on one drive, your drive crashes, you lose your data, you lose your operating system, you lose everything. But have it separate and have it to where one can connect to the other, it'll be easier to restore than trying to restore everything. And especially if, say for instance, if something doesn't work right, like say for instance, the operating system here, if you have it combined, it may not install right and your data won't save on, or vice versa. Anything can happen to where it won't work out right. So, all right, enough of that. Take a quick sip and get into this Operation Superhero thing. All right, Operation Superhero, like I said, it's something that I came up with. It's been over 5 years ago. It was when I got my first Mac, the 2009. And I wanted to find a way to make it to where I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any issues DJing. So what I did, and I'm gonna pull my SSD drive because I think this is one of my. No, this is a Windows drive. I have Windows on here. What I did, this is a 240. I split it. No, this is not a 240. This is 120. This one is, yep, this one is my 240. So turn the light down. That's right. All right, so zoom it in. Turn up a little bit more. All right, so with my, all right, no, you probably not gonna be able to see the text on there. But anyway, with my 240 SSD drive, I split it 120 and 120. Now, with that, on one side of the 120, I put whatever the current operating system is. I ran it as my normal boot up, ran my normal programs, which I probably run. I don't really go into the other one that much because it requires a restart, but I'm gonna start back doing that again now, just so I won't have any issues when I have it running. But I usually have to do a reboot. But anyway, in the primary, I have which is a 120 size, and like I said again, the only thing that's there is operating system and programs. Data is saved to the hybrid drive that I have in there, the 2 terabyte hybrid drive. So I have programs, operating system. And that's just not DJ programs. That's all programs. There's Photoshop. There's Ableton Live. There's CAD designing programs, Microsoft Office, whatever I want to use normally for that. I usually have that running on the main boot. So when it boots, that's what it boots up to. It boots up to that first. Now, this is where it's different. Now, once I shut that down and restart, and I hold the option button, when I hold the option button, it gives me another choice. The other choice is my second boot. Now, with that second boot, I use that as a different operating system than the first. Depending on the computer, I may use the same one, but it's going to run completely different. Now, that second operating system that's here, let's say High Sierra here, Yosemite here, which is going to be, to me, more stable, and an older version that will probably run a little bit smoother than High Sierra. So now, on that new partition, that new install, and let me make this clear, I installed nothing more than what I need. And what I'm going to start doing now to keep myself from using it for anything else, just go and clear out everything that doesn't relate to what I need that partition. I remove calendar, remove App Store, I remove Safari, I remove everything off there. It'll look almost existent. The only thing that I need is the program that I need to use it for, whether it's Serato, Virtual DJ, Tractor, Mix Vibes, whatever I need that for, that's what it's going to run on that. Now, the thing is, if you keep it like that, if you keep it clean, if you don't use it for normal daily use, if you don't put too many programs on it or whatever, it will run like a brand new laptop. Every time it will run like a brand new laptop. It will boot up quick because you're not putting much into it. The size of the drive will always be as small as the drive up here because you don't have all these programs in it. You're running a minimized version of this right here. So it's going to be more stable because there's nothing there to cause conflict. Only the programs that you put into it. If you put in a beta version of Serato, if your laptop crashes, then you need to look to Serato first. You need to look to the program first before you start to say, oh, this version, Yosemite, is the issue. Now, that will only be the issue if the program that you're running is not really compatible with the operating system that you put it on. So you need to make sure that you do that. And here's how the name came up. Well, first, once you create that second boot, and you have to split the drive up. You start off first with a fresh drive. You could probably do it with the existing, but it's better to start with the new drive. Like if I get a brand new drive, I'll partition it however I want it, whether it be half and half or a little bit more for one. You may want to do more for the main than the secondary, because the main, as you start to use it, you're going to add more programs. It's going to expand more. The performance, whatever programs you put in there, that's what you're going to use. If you're using it for beta, have your stable and have your beta. Make sure you always have something that's going to work. If you're going to try beta, you can have like a beta version of Serato, then you can have a stable version. So you at least know that it works. You could try the beta. If it fails, trash it, then you at least got your working version. So make sure that you keep that into that aspect. Now, partition your drive. Once you partition your drive, you need to make sure that you have the operating system that you're going to put on there. Have that operating system ready, because the next thing you're going to do, you're about to get ready to install it. Insert the drive and put it into the laptop, however you need to do it. Take the screws out, 10 screws, 3 long screws toward the back. All the rest of the screws are small. This is the MacBook. And then depending on where you're going to put it. And of course, this needs to be your main drive. It needs to replace your main drive. You put it in that slot, put it in the tray or whatever, install in that slot, put the case back on, and now we're about to do the install. Once you do the install, when you get ready to start, hold down the Option key. The Option key is what you're going to need every time you restart. But now you need the Option key to do the install. Hold down the Option key. You're going to get a screen that's going to come up. It's going to show a drive. It's going to show your main drive. It's going to show both partitions. And always name the second partition Performance. That way you know what it is. You can name the first partition, the main, whatever you want to call it. You can call it Studio. You can let it stay Macintosh HD. I don't give a damn. You can call it Kick My Ass and the First Degree. Whatever. Make sure you separate those two, but name the second one performance so you know what it is. Okay, you're going to click. Well, you're not even going to click into performance. You already know that you have the partitions there. Of course, performance is empty. And if you're using a new drive, they're both empty. If you're using the existing drive to where you split a partition for performance, then you have your primary drive and your performance drive, which is empty. But the thing is, you want to select is what else is on your right. You want to have your operating systems that you can install. If you have your flash drive in and it's detecting, then that's the one that you want to install. Okay, go ahead and install your operating system onto performance. Put your operating system onto performance. At that point, once you do that, you're done. Restart your computer. And this is only if you didn't do the 2 drives. This is just if you did just 1 drive and you split it to where your main, your secondary. I'm not even, as for adding the second drive and having your data to go over to here and nothing is being saved on here. That is another case. I'm not going to mention that right now because that'll be a lot of stuff over your head. If you need that done or whatever, get with me. I offer services for Mac and PC to do all this stuff as well as other stuff. So just get with me after this. You can contact me here. You can add a comment onto this YouTube video, or you can hit me up on Facebook. So now you have it done. You have your performance boot done. Now, how do you access that? Good question. How you access it every time on the restart, you hold down the option key. When you hold down the option key on a reboot, it will give you your main drive partition, which what you called it. I don't know what you called it. Default is Macintosh HD. That's the default. So you got Macintosh HD and you have performance. Click on performance. You're going to go into performance and smell that new hard drive smell, that new operating system smell. Just like a new car smell, you got that new operating system. You'll be able to see that new operating system. There's no secondary, thirdary, no programs installed other than what is installed when you first do a new install. Now, at this point, go ahead and install your essential programs and only your essential programs. Install your Serato. So go ahead and install your virtual DJ, your Tractor, your Mix Vibes, Torque, Ableton Live, whatever you're going to use that partition for. Do that. And I'm going to say at this point now, since you're at that point now, whatever you don't need, uninstall it. So whatever you have on there that you don't need, if it doesn't apply to the programs you install on there, take it off. And I'm talking about programs now. I'm not talking about other files. I'm talking about programs like keep Notepad. You probably need something like Notepad. You may not need photos. You may not need keep the App Store. You definitely want to keep the App Store. You don't know what you might have to download there. Safari, not going to need it. I wouldn't, unless you're using, unless you need to download something on the fly. And that's another thing. Make sure Make sure your Wi-Fi and your Bluetooth are disabled. Your search spotlight, make sure you disable that. And also go through Serato has a link. If you go to Serato, and even if you go through where you download the software, it has a link that you can click on for optimizing your Mac. Make sure you do that as well. Optimize it using, they have two versions. They have a basic and they have advanced. Go ahead and do that. And like I said, remove any programs. And your performance dual boot every time you get ready. If you're doing a live stream, if you're doing a club, you're doing a wedding, if you're doing a tour, a show, or whatever, anything where you don't need any issues to happen while you're performing, use the performance dual boot. Don't use the Macintosh HD. Don't use the main drive. Use the secondary partition. The secondary partition performance. And now, where I got the name from, of course, performance dual boot, self-exclamatory. You name it performance, and I always use performance in cap. And then it's a dual boot, self-exclamatory. That makes sense. Now, the way that I came up with the hashtag, and I use hashtag so it can be found easily in a search for people that may be looking to do this. Hashtag Operation Superhero. Now, you have heroes that have alter ego. You have Bruce Wayne, Batman, Clark Kent, Superman, Barry Allen, Flash, Oliver Queen, Green Arrow, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. You have all these characters that have alter ego. Now, the way that it relates to this drive, look at it like this. Your standard, your standard main partition, which is, let's say, default is Macintosh HD. That is your Peter Parker, your Oliver Queen, your Bruce Wayne, your Barry Allen, so forth. That is your main alter ego. That's the person that lives their daily life. You're doing normal stuff. That's the normal person that you usually see. That's why I call that partition that. Now, when you reboot, hold down Option and select Performance, you've now switched over to a new persona. Your new persona now is Superman, Batman, Flash, Green Arrow. These are your superheroes. So your performance boot is now your superhero. It's going to run cleaner, better, stronger than this one because there are less resources that's used here than here. So that's why I came up with the name to where it makes sense. You have it's just like you have two personalities in one person, two operating systems in one computer, same thing. So that's why I came up with the idea of hashtag Operation Superhero, with the hashtag being so that whenever I have the instruction posted, and I do have them posted in probably at least three different Facebook groups that you can find it. The Zone is one. If you look it up, you'll see a bunch of articles on it. Serato Nation and another one of the Serato groups is where I have it posted. So that's about it. We are finishing up about round 215. If you guys have any questions, if you need any technical support or whatever, hit me up. You can reply to the comments for this feed. I'm gonna edit it after this point and break it up into the segments as for where I started talking about the topics. So everything will be broken up. I'm about to sign out. Y'all have a good day. This is Ken Ellis for Atlanta DJ Zone Tech Tuesday Live. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share so you can get those notifications for the next time I do my next podcast, what I do, or even when I start to do individual videos. Some of the stuff that I talk about on the podcast, I will also do a separate video with graphics and animation, add more to it so you'll be able to see a visual. This is just self-exclamatory stuff, but some people need to see a visual. That takes up more time. That's usually a different video. But what I try to do now is try not to have these videos so long because they are difficult to edit in YouTube. YouTube Studio has a flawed editor. I tried editing. I spent maybe 2 hours editing 30 minutes of last week's 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours. And I could not save it. It got to a point it said it was the points that I was trying to edit were too small. And so it didn't save it. So I just gave up and I didn't edit. I may go back later, but I didn't edit. So now I'm trying to get everything shorter to where trying to get shorter so I can edit. And for those that view it later, they can find certain stuff at certain time. But all right, I'm about to sign out. I will hit y'all up later. Make sure, like I said, like, subscribe, and share this because I got more stuff coming out. I got old videos that were done in Facebook that I need to upload to YouTube. So I will be doing that as well. So you'll be seeing content that I haven't done to YouTube, but it were done on Facebook and it'll be up and available there. But anyway, y'all have a good week. I will catch y'all next Tuesday or whatever Tuesday that I do my next broadcast. I got more stuff coming up. Stay tuned. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.